Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to be talking about Andrew Yang's needed response to Joe Biden's promise to cure cancer. All right, let's talk about this. So on June 11th, on Tuesday, June 11th, 2019, a now historical date because it's going to show either something very good or very bad, right? Joe Biden said the following. He specifically said, I promise you, if I am elected president, the most important thing you will see change in America is we will cure cancer. Okay? All right. Those are his exact words. All right. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that Joe Biden has now done a few things. He has unequivocally promised to cure cancer during his presidency. Okay? All right. Now, Joe Biden has no control over getting a second term. In addition to that, his statement didn't say that he would require a second term. It was an unequivocal promise. It was a campaign promise to cure cancer. All right. This is huge. This is historic. This is June 11th. 2019, Tuesday, June 11th, 2019, is now a historical day. It establishes the following. It establishes a new golden era of human history where we conquered cancer, a killer of human beings that has been with us every day that we have been on this earth. Or it marks the day of the declaration of the most base villain that has ever been in a campaign, right? Like, to me, right? That's a good question. Yes, let's say this. I think it absolutely marks the date of one of the greatest villains in political history, okay? And the reason why is one of two things is going to happen, okay? So one, let's be super clear. The 2020 primary race for U.S. president has fundamentally changed, right? Joe Biden has demanded from every single voter, from every single candidate, from every single reporter that there's a record scratch and everything stops, okay? Because there is something happening here. There is something hugely, politically, historically, there's something historically important, okay? All right. If we take Joe Biden, so where did this come from? What is his source, okay? When he said this, it was one of the following. It was said with sincerity. Okay? That's possible. We're going to talk about that possibility. It was said with ignorance. That's not possible. I can tell you right now, that is not possible. Joe Biden is not ignorant of the fight to cure cancer. He's incredibly aware of it. He had a family member who suffered with cancer, and the reality is, because of that, this is a very personal issue to him, and he is incredibly aware. He gets reports from top universities and top hospitals about what is happening at the edge of this research, right? Okay? All right, so he's not ignorant. So it could have come from ignorant. It didn't, right? It could have come from sincerity. It could have come from ignorance. It could have come from maliciousness, right? Saying, oh, I know, if I promise to cure cancer, well, that'll definitely win me the election. That would be incredibly malicious, right? I don't think that Joe Biden, to me, I really do pursue truth. I have watched Joe Biden. I do not think there is a maliciousness about Joe Biden. So there's one more left, and that is recklessness. There is a recklessness about his words, okay? There's a possibility that this came from a recklessness. Him saying, I am not a normal candidate. I am Barack Obama's vice president. I am 30 points ahead of the polls, and I am not bound by the same rules as anyone else. I could say whatever I want, right? Could have come from a recklessness, right? So let's talk about the sincerity. There's a possibility that Joe Biden has been talking to the greatest, hospital leads, the greatest doctors, the greatest scientists, and the greatest research, and he knows something that we don't, right? Or he has studied John F. Kennedy, and he has seen the path to a human historical achievement, and he is willing to go there. He is willing to make this a moonshot, right? What he is, that's sincere, right? He's saying, I don't care what it takes. I'm all in. We're gonna do this the same way we did the moon, right? So that's a possibility. The sincerity part is a possibility. But right now, our 2020 primary election, it needs to stop. The whole thing needs to stop, right? No other candidates for the next week should be talking about union labor, about if union laborers are paid enough, if we're all going to be on Medicaid, or if we're going to need, or if there should be free colleges. Who cares? Who cares about any of that, right? Joe Biden has just declared that if he's president, he promises a cure for cancer. That changes the game for every single candidate, including Andrew Yang, right? Everybody needs to stop. The media needs to stop. The voters need to stop. The candidates need to stop. And everybody needs to look over at Joe Biden and say, you better talk real quick, right? You need to talk about what you just promised, okay? Because if what you're saying is true, then I as a candidate need to really seriously reflect on whether I should still be running, right? Because if you can talk and tell us why you're promising a cure for cancer within 4 years of 2020, but if you're promising a cure for cancer by 2024, which is something that humans have been trying to get rid of for millennia, for like 3 millennia, for 3,000 years, the greatest minds of the human race have been put to this. But you are different, and you're going to bring a cure to cancer by 2024. So basically, let's hear you, Joe. Let's hear it. No more stupid town halls of anyone. No more CNN town halls. No more Fox News, right? This isn't about our election anymore. This isn't about America. This is about human history. This is about the globe. This is about the human population. If Joe Biden can bring a cure for cancer by 2024, right, then it's all over. The primary and the general is over. Nobody cares about Trump. Nobody cares about Marianne Williamson. Nobody cares about Andrew Yang. Nobody cares about anybody, and nor should they. If Joe Biden can bring a cure for cancer by 2024, and he has already declared that the cure for cancer is now a ticking clock that ends at 2024 because he cannot guarantee himself 2028, and because he did not equivocate in his election campaign promise to cure cancer, right? Nobody cares, right? This primary and this general is over, and the reason why is right now everything should stop. Joe Biden should have a CNN town hall, and he should talk for 2 hours, bringing in the very best researchers, the very best doctors, the very best hospital leads, and say, this is why I made that claim. It didn't come from nowhere. I wasn't talking out of my butt, right? This is real. My determination is real. You want to talk about determination, right? Kennedy pointed at the moon, and we went there. And guess what? You know what it takes to do human historical level achievement? It takes Grissom, White, and Chaffee. They burned to death getting to the moon, right? Their blood fueled our drive to the moon, right? That's what it took to do something that had never been done in history, right? Those men gave their lives to race Russia and make sure that Russia wasn't made into a moon, a moon military base, right? And guess what? I know Biden knows this. I know he has read the history, right? He knows what it takes to do something that has never been done. It will most likely take human lives, right? And the research absolutely could, right? Are they going to have to use, flus and viruses that could risk the lives of the people who are doing the research? Quite likely. Absolutely. If we are now making the cure for cancer a race, then guess what? The materials you would be doing the research for You can't do that research in safe mode anymore because we're in a race. And that's one of the reasons why Grissom, White, and Chaffee, American astronauts, died, right? We didn't use every safety precaution. We didn't, right? We raced the Russians to the moon. So now, okay, so we just talked about the sincerity, and we talked about what needs to happen. What needs to happen. Every single one of those 24 candidates, your words mean nothing now. Because one candidate said, I will bring the cure to cancer. That has nothing to do with a presidential election. That has nothing to do with America. That has to do with slaying one of the top 10 killers of human beings all over the globe. Right? The ramifications of Biden's words go far, far, far beyond this election, far beyond the borders of our nation, right? And so here's the kicker, right? If he cannot sit down, if he cannot detail a plan for ending one of the largest killers of human beings in history that still plagues America, Russia, France, and every other nation on this planet, right? Then what is Biden? He is done, right? If he does not come forward within the next week or two and carefully detail a path to the cure to cancer, then he is the most rank. If he can do that, if he can actually do this, if he can say, this is the path to the cure to cancer, right? Detail it out and show us that he wasn't talking out of his butt, right? Then he is the most noble of heroes, because he will do something that our presidency will go far beyond the benefit of Americans. It will benefit the entire world. And frankly, when does America do that? When do we bring a global historical change that helps every single nation on the planet? This would be one of those times, right? So I'm willing to listen. I'm ready, Biden. Give it to me. Let's hear the plan. Because if you don't have a plan, then where are we? All right? I'll tell you right now. Tell you exactly where we are. Well, there's a mother somewhere in America sitting next to a child who has cancer. And you have just taken her ability to vote for the candidate she chooses away from her. She cannot risk the life of her child betting on someone who has not promised the cure for cancer. She can't do that, right? There is a husband sitting next to his wife who is in a bed with cancer, right? He no longer has a choice in this election. He has to vote for you, right? And the reason why is basically, if you don't have a real plan, then what you are doing is you are taking the imminent death of children, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, boyfriends, girlfriends. You are taking the love, you are taking the care and hopes and dreams of their loved ones and making them the fuel for your political gain. And that is rank villainy. That is rank villainy. Joe Biden, by his own words, has now declared, I am the noble hero, and this primary and this general is over. Nobody cares about free college when 8 million, in 2015, 8 million people died of cancer. There are 7 million people that live in Arizona. If Joe Biden, if what he said is true, right? If he's ready to do everything necessary to cure something that for 3,000 years at least has attempted to be cured and has been failed, right? He delivers a hope and a dream and a vision that takes the tears out of the eyes of mothers, that takes the tears out of the eyes of husbands, whose children, whose wives are ravaged with cancer, right? It will, if what he's saying is true, he saves human lives today, and he saves 8 million human lives forever, right? If what he is saying is true, if he has an actual plan, then the primary and the general are over. And I'll tell you right now, if Joe Biden, I am all in for Andrew Yang, okay? UBI all the way. But if Joe Biden does a CNN town hall and he brings the greatest medical minds in the world, he brings a doctor, he brings a healthcare coordinator, right? He brings a scientist, and they say, "Yep, Joe Biden's right. We're a year or two away from it. All we need is an unmitigated amount of money. We need a huge amount of money, and we need drive. And yeah, we're right there, right there. If we just had a president who made this a priority, I'm willing to hear. And you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to take my vote away from Andrew Yang, but I will. I'm not a monster, right? I'm not going to let some mother sit in a hospital bed with her child dying of cancer and say, "Oh yeah, I really want UBI." I'm not a beast, right? So basically, it all needs to stop. The media needs to stop covering, things that are stupid in comparison, right? This, like, when you say I will cure cancer, you're not making a promise to a bunch of you're not making a promise to a bunch of Democrats. You're not making a promise to the American people. You're making a promise to the globe. This is a global problem. This has nothing to do with America, right? And frankly, if Joe Biden has an actual path to the cure for cancer, that's it, folks. You can pack it up. Nobody cares about Tulsi Gabbard or Marianne Williamson or Beto O'Rourke or Bernie Sanders, and nobody should, right? If Joe Biden, right, has an actual path, and I'm ready to hear it. Boy, are my ears perked up, Joe. I'm ready, right? Get your butt to CNN. Let's hear that town hall. Trot out these researchers. Trot out these doctors. Trot out these medical coordinators. I want to hear it. I want to hear the path to a cure for cancer. Oh, you don't got it? Well, guess what? I'm calling you, right? So, and then here's the kicker. Here's where Andrew Yang comes in. Everything I just said, Andrew Yang needs to do this. I don't like putting this on his back, but I'll tell you right now, I don't think I am backing Andrew Yang as a leader because I think he's a leader, right? As President of the United States, I'm backing him and voting for him as President of the United States because I want a leader, and leaders do things that nobody wants to do. And everything I just said, that's what Andrew Yang needs to do. He needs to stand up and say, Joe Biden, you know what? Let's hear it. I want you to go. Andrew Yang should say, Joe Biden, let's go together. I'm going with you to the CNN town hall, right? And I'm ready. You could take a month. You could even take 2 months. Line up your people, right? And frankly, if you show everybody that you're serious about this, then great, okay? I think Andrew Yang should say, I'm pulling out. If you define a credible plan to cure cancer, then it is outrageous for anyone to run against you, frankly, and even Trump should resign, right? Because the reality is, what you've promised goes far beyond America, goes far beyond an election. This is 8 million human lives a year. This is a human killer that has existed for 3 millennia and this is a human killer that has escaped cure for 3 millennia. And frankly, if what you're saying is true, it's all over, right? Andrew Yang, will be the first to concede. Go forward. And I'm gonna shift my money and my time and my effort to get you there, right? And J. Scott Garibay, I'm all in too, right? Like, if you got a cure for cancer, I'm not a monster. I'm not gonna stop a global human achievement from happening. But boy, oh boy, Joe, if you don't have that, right? If you can't bring forward a real path, then what that means is that you said, you know what'd be great? If I use the hopes and dreams of people whose children and spouses and friends and relatives are dying of cancer, and use them as fuel, like nitrous oxide for my campaign to just push me forward, right? If even one person whose loved one has cancer, and you took the freedom of their vote from them, just so you could use political gain, then you are the most rank villain. So right now, Joe Biden is the most noble of heroes and is about to deliver a new era, a new golden era for humanity, or he is the most rank villain and he needs to get out of this election immediately. Because I'll tell you right now, Trump he has made some mistakes, but I ain't never seen anything like this. I mean, this is rank villainy. Like, this is comic book level villainy, right? Like, using the hopes and dreams of people who have friends, spouses, children dying of cancer, and you steal the freedom of their vote from them because you've given a promise that demands their vote, and you had no path. You knew that we weren't within 4 years of a cure. And Andrew Yang's got to be the one that carries this. He's got to. And the reason why is nobody else will. The media won't. We already know they failed us in 2016. They don't have the stomach for it. They want to just keep... They don't want to call people to truth. That's clear as day, right? The other candidates, this is the hardest thing, right? Andrew Yang has to say, all right, everybody stop talking. All right, Joe Biden, you just said you can cure cancer. Let's hear it. And frankly, if you bring a credible, sound plan, Andrew Yang will drop out of the election. And he should. He should. Every candidate should drop out of the election if Joe Biden is not talking out of his butt. But if he is talking out of his butt, right, it's worse than that. He is the most rank villain because he is playing with the hearts and minds of people who are struggling with the grim reaper of cancer, right? Who have people who are dying of cancer. And that is rank villainy. So right now, we're about to find out, is Joe Biden a noble hero or is he a rank villain, right? And the only person in the election right now, the only person in the primaries who can do this is Andrew Yang. He's the only one with the moral fiber. He's the only one with the intelligence to understand everything I just said and realize the ramifications of it. That this statement, it is a record scratch. It stops everything. Nobody should be talking about anything else, right? And also, if the media is not going to call Joe Biden on this, right? The flames of this destroy. If what he's saying is not true, it destroys Joe Biden. It destroys his dynasty. It puts flames at the feet and hands of the Democrat Party who would allow this to go forward, who would allow the hopes and dreams of people who have friends and family dying of cancer to be used as political fuel, right? And the media as well. If anyone doesn't stop and say, everybody needs to shut up and listen to Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's got a cure for cancer, right? He knows the road to the cure to cancer. Oh, and also, like, he's just like Kennedy, right? He's going to set up a situation where people are racing to cure cancer, where research becomes a danger zone because it has to, because there's a clock on the cure for cancer now. There's now a clock on the cure for cancer attached to one man, Joe Biden. So we got to find out right now, and I think Andrew Yang's the one to call for it. Andrew Yang has to say, Joe Biden, demonstrate for us now. Are you a noble hero or a rank villain? That's Andrew Yang's point-in-time maneuver. That's what's demanded right now. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful day.